Spider-Man for the PS1 is awesome. It came out a couple of years before the Sam Raimi trilogy, which instigated the big Spider-Man boom, so instead of feeling tired of the character like many people do today, people wanted more. There were many Spider-Man games before this one, but this was the first one that really nailed down what a Spider-Man game should be, and it set the benchmark for future Spider-Man games to come. The story starts out with a cutscene showing Otto Octavius delivering a speech about science and stuff, with Peter Parker reacting skeptically. Eddie Brock is also there, getting some pictures which he hopes will be good enough for J. Jonah Jameson. Suddenly, the show is interrupted by... Spider-Man? And here comes the first quip.
Last time I checked, I was Spider-Man.
That's just the beginning. Seriously, I swear there are more quips throughout this game than there are in the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Anyway, Brock... No, not that one. Sees an opportunity to show the world that Spidey is truly evil, despite having just seen Peter Parker in the crowd with him, and knows what this footage would mean to JJJ. Spidey sees him, however, and breaks the camera lens? Couldn't Eddie just get the film out of the camera and use the 4 clear pictures he already took? Brock gets mad and Venom is unleashed. Meanwhile, we see Dr. Octopus and a mysterious accomplice unleash a cloud of gas into the streets of New York. That is a good intro. It sets up the story and introduces the main antagonist without any excess filler. Short and to the point, it gets the player invested and wanting to learn more and therefore play the game. Before you can find out more, however, Black Cat turns up and tells you that the bank is being robbed and that the robbers have hostages. You make your way across the building tops towards the bank, taking out various henchmen along the way. 2 police helicopters then turn up, immediately talking about being on the lookout for Spider-Man. They get shot down by the leader of the robbers and you continue towards the bank. Once inside, you take out a bunch of thugs and save the hostages. 2 of the thugs in here actually have some really overdramatic conversations, aided by a huge pause between the 2. For example...
Got a birth mint? No, man, I'm out.
After saving everyone on this floor, you head down in the lift and do the same again. Once one thug realises what's going on, he starts the bomb. You have 2 minutes to put the bomb in the bank safe, told to you by another quip, and that's it. A nice, fairly simple mission to ease you into the game. A few hours later, Parker gets a call from Jameson who tells him that the Scorpion is about to kill him. After racing across a bunch of rooftops in order to get to the Daily Bugle, you see a short cutscene in which Jameson tries to convince Scorpion that there may be a way of getting him out of the suit. Scorpion, however, is intent on getting revenge on Jameson for putting him in there in the first place. Spidey turns up and, long story short, defeats Scorpion. Jameson is not grateful, of course, and tells the police to shoot him. Spidey then meets Daredevil, who forces Spidey to convince him that it wasn't him who pulled off the heist. Daredevil promises to spread his innocence. The NYPD then show up and chase Spider-Man across town. After evading capture, Spider-Man then sees Black Cat again, who tells him that not only has Venom got a message for him, but Rhino is also causing trouble over at Omnitech. Spidey first sees the message, which consists of Venom telling him that Mary Jane has 24 hours to live. After some speech about responsibility or whatever, it begins. Spider-Man makes his way over to Omnitech. Rhino takes out Black Cat and then comes gunning for him. After the easiest boss fight in history, you literally just electrocute him to death. Doc Ock turns up with the police and a medical crew. Ock takes away Rhino and Peter finds Black Cat, and tries to tell him that the people taking her away aren't real paramedics. Yeah, no shit. This scene then cuts to Spidey talking to the Human Torch, who tells him not to worry and that he'll find Venom because Venom will find him first. Sure enough, Venom turns up. You chase him across town and fight him. He then jumps into the sewers and you follow him. A large portion of the game is taken up here, as you make your way through the sewers trying to find Mary Jane. Your foes throughout this section are a bunch of leftovers from experiments done by the Lizard. You fight these pretty much all the way through, including on top of a subway train. I feel it's good at this point to mention how not a single billboard or advertisement opportunity in this game is wasted. For example, on various billboards you see the Neversoft logo, a headline claiming that monsters infest sewers, which Spidey makes fun of but in fact foreshadows this section of the game, and even a couple saying Stark Solutions, a reference to Tony Stark. There are more than those, see if you can spot them throughout the game. The Fantastic Four building also appears. But more than anything, there is a huge amount of product placement in the game for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, which is also an Activision/Neversoft production which came out around the same time. You see adverts for this on billboards, the side of the building, and the walls lining the subway during the train stage. There's even a short clip of the game playing on a TV in the Daily Bugle. Activision and Neversoft of course mirrored this in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, where they included Spider-Man as an unlockable character to promote this game. It's everywhere. After successfully navigating the sewers, possibly meeting the lizard along the way who tells you where to find Mary Jane, you meet up with Venom at Mary Jane's hiding place and fight him one last time. Once he's defeated, Spidey questions Venom's motives. Venom tells him that this was because of what happened at the Science Expo. Eddie must have really loved that camera. And tells him that he's the bad guy this time. But Spidey then jogs Eddie's memory, reminding him that he too was in the crowd with him that day, and that it can't possibly have been him on stage. Venom accepts this, and the two team up. Spider-Man concludes that it was either the Chameleon or Mysterio who impersonated him, and the two head to the Daily Bugle to get help. Whilst there, Venom senses Carnage through some weird symbiote telepathy thing, and races away. But Spidey then finds other symbiotes, with hostages, inside the Bugle itself. He makes his way down to the printing press, where he finds some symbiote generators. Hold up. Where were all those symbiotes during the battle with Scorpion? Apparently, they literally just appeared overnight. Okay. Spider-Man destroys the generators and makes his way even further down to the basement. He finds more generators and, after destroying them, his imposter. Confirming one of Spidey's guesses, the imposter turns out to be Mysterio. After defeating him, Mysterio reveals that there are even more symbiotes at Warehouse 65 on the waterfront, and that the fog which covers the city is preparing everyone in New York for symbiosis. Spidey meets the Punisher at Warehouse 65 and convinces him not to come with him. After even more generator destroying, Spidey falls down a huge ventilation shaft that would surely kill him. But after landing without a scratch, he finds that he's in a large underwater base with rather terrifying security measures. Inside, he finds Black Cat, who tells him that if he can shut off the power, she can escape. He does this by closing the exhaust ports without stopping the fog, creating a huge amount of pressure. Black Cat escapes and goes to get help, while Spider-Man finally goes on to discover the brains behind the whole thing. Of course, it's Doc Ock, with Carnage, who just sort of seems to be there for reasons, probably the symbiote thing. He explains that the world needs his technology and that symbiosis will bring a new world order. Venom then just appears next to Spidey, quite literally, and goes off to fight Carnage. After defeating Doc Ock, Venom comes flying down out of the ceiling, having been beaten by Carnage, who then takes Spider-Man. Spidey defeats him using a sonic bubble. Wait, Spider-Man and Venom team up and Carnage gets defeated by a sonic weapon? That's borrowed straight from Amazing Spider-Man 361 to 363. Spider-Man thinks that the whole ordeal is over now that the Carnage symbiote has left Cletus Cassidy, only to find that it's now latched onto Ock. There is no boss fight here, you run. Just run. And jump. I would now like to point out the ridiculous faces of Ock and Monster Ock. I mean, what are they? Ock looks like a gangster Elton John, and Monster Ock looks as if Satan and Hellboy had a love child and then he nicked Elton's sunglasses. Ock is saved by the Carnage symbiote and Spidey gets picked up by Captain America, Venom and Black Cat, who had alerted the Cap earlier. We see a number of Marvel heroes playing Go Fish and dancing, along with the game's villains cramped together in a jail cell and a good old The End sign. Okay, so that's the story. But how does it play? Well, long story short, it plays great. The gameplay is smooth and Spidey swings beautifully, without any awkward repositioning or delay. Everything feels natural with a great sense of life to it. His running feels a tad slow at times and you may find yourself jumping around in order to move along a bit faster, but that's a minor setback. The sound effects are simple, but they work, although there is a heavy reliance on a stock punch sound effect, no matter what's hitting you. I highly doubt a symbiote slapping you across the face would have the same sound effect as Scorpion whacking you with his tail, for example. The music is great too, and no wonder. Those of you who have seen my World 9 video will know of my love for Tommy Tallarico's music, and as it turns out, he composed the music for this too. It's actually no surprise when you listen to it. Both soundtracks have elements of rock and synth music meshed together. The graphics are generally very good for the PS1 as well, probably showcasing about the maximum of what's possible with the system. Except Doc Ock's face. Not sure what's up with that. Glitches occur here and there, such as getting trapped in things or when the game swings you to the wrong building and this messes you up and you fail the level. Outside the story, there's plenty to keep you busy. Comic books can be found whilst playing in the game, found hidden on buildings, underneath objects, and in various other places. As mentioned before, be on the lookout for references and foreshadowing on adverts and billboards too. You can also unlock various costumes for Spider-Man, and each time you meet or defeat a character, you will unlock their biography. There are training modes too, in case you want to get to grips with the game or just relax and see what you can do. A huge part of the game which adds replayability is the What If mode. The story plays out exactly the same, but there are changes here and there throughout which are usually just fun little nods to the Marvel Universe. See what you can spot. For example, the Human Torch can be found on top of the Fantastic Four building in level 2, the Carnage fight is watched by the Submariner and a shark, and the Doc Ock fight is just... there are no words for this. What is this? Ock is now a psychedelic dwarf hippie from the 60s? It's bonkers and I love it! The other great thing about this game is that it's narrated by Stan Lee. The man himself narrates both the story and the biographies of each character. How great is that? Hint, it's very great. This review has been mostly praised, but that's because there's honestly very little negative to say about this game. I mean, I could poke fun about how the only mouth that moves to talk is Venom's, or how Activision and Eversoft took advantage of the game to market Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, but honestly, that would be nitpicking. Thanks to a great, if over-the-top story, it is based on a comic book after all, fantastic gameplay, and a great soundtrack, as well as nods to the whole universe, Spider-Man gets a 9 out of 10, and is highly recommended if you have never played it before. Hey, thanks for watching. If you'd like to keep up with all things Hobatron, be sure to both follow me on Twitter and click that subscribe button. If you'd like to see some more, I've linked a couple of videos for you right here. One is a crazy race on the video game Blur, and the other is all about the PlayStation 1. Watch them whenever you like, really. Enjoy!